up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. I'm feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. I'm feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. I'm feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. My God is so good to me. This morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. I got up this morning singing, God is so good. My God is so good to me. I'm feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. Feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. I'm feeling good down in my soul, God is so good. My God is so good to me. My God is so, my God is so, my God is so good to me. Yeah.
All right. Nicely done. Yeah, let's give him some love. Yeah, why not? So welcome to all of those of you in the sanctuary here. Welcome to those of you on the sanctuary online. Good to have you with us today. My name is Reverend Dr. Michael McMorrow. We're coming to you live from the Center for Spiritual Living here in Granada Hills, California. That's in the North San Fernando Valley, a place where we welcome all who practice their beliefs and faith and love. And you heard the musical stylings of the Jason Goldstein Trio with his the new graduates of Campbell Hall, right? Campbell Hall. So we're great to have Paola and, not Paola,
Paolo and Evan.
Paolo
Pesh, Evan St. Georgie.
Yeah. Great, let's give them some love. I have to say, whenever I go to say someone's name, I have this moment of panic, like, what if I forget? Sorry. It's not personal. It's just CRS. Yeah. I'll let you figure out what that means. All right, and so please help me welcome our assistant minister, our presider for the morning, Reverend Nancy Woods. And so let's begin by taking a deep, conscious breath together. And release as we allow ourselves to surrender to this moment, this eternal now moment, as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Now, fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. So as Reverend Nancy lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. The seventh candle we light for all forms of Islam, honoring the path to submission to the will of God as the highest calling. The eighth candle we light for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. The ninth candle we light for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of Spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here in our sanctuary, within our online community, and of course within our own hearts. And as Reverend Nancy lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
There is one flame that burns in our hearts. There is one light that shines through our love. We light this flame with faith. We light this flame with faith. We find this light within our own souls. There is one flame, one light within.
So with a mind that is very grateful for every opportunity to acknowledge and understand and to appreciate and embody whatever it is about Spirit that is touching us today. As we acknowledge that there is just one power, one creator, one energy, oneness that is coming forth into expression as each and everything that exists. Acknowledging that we are the infinite intelligence of the universe saying yes to life is allowing us to step out of the way and allow it to come forth and express itself as our thoughts, our words, and our activity of life. To appreciate and to embrace the idea that that wondrous presence is creating something anew in us, through us, and as us. As we embrace this idea and just rejoice in its presence, we know that this hour that we have been gifted with is one in which we are able to fulfill some need that we have opened ourselves to experience. To know that that comes forth not only through the music, but through the message but through the greeting and every aspect of the experience this morning. So we just let go and allow ourselves to embrace that which we are ready to be fed. And know that we are truly avenues through which the spiritual presence greatness manifests itself. So it is with a truly grateful heart I embrace the law of the universe that fulfills the word that has been expressed, so I can let go and let it be. And we rejoice in knowing these truths as they come forth into expression. Together, we acknowledge it by saying, and so it is. Hi. It's a good morning. It's a beautiful morning. And y'all look so good. I mean, it's joy in everybody's face. I mean, it's almost like a smile. Oh, and thank you for letting me stand up here and look at everybody's face. Sometimes the spirit is so strong, you know, you got to calm yourself down. I wanted to share the idea of giving up control, surrendering the need to control life. I'm learning that means get out of the head, get into the heart, but my head keeps jumping back in there. And it keeps telling me, oh, well, you got to listen to what they have told you. You got to remember to do this, and you got to look like this. And you got to, all those things that the humanistic side of life and society and print keeps telling us about. So learning how to trust that inner teacher and inner awareness, and allow it to guide us to the next step rather than us planning exactly how I'm going to step forward. Takes some doing sometimes. It gets away with me. It gets away from me sometimes. Mine gets me in trouble. I don't know about yours. But when mine gets away and I start controlling things, I get in trouble. When I release, it just seems like it's a flow. So I'm having this issue of trying to figure out how to get myself out of the way consciously. But see, then, when I say consciously, you know where I went to? Back to the head. So it's kind of like I want to know. I want to know where it is and where it's going. Yet, I understand that the perfection it already is, and it's already been created as soon as my desire of the heart came forth. So, if I can surrender that conscious wanting to know and stuff, and trust, the flow starts coming forth. It is one of those dilemmas that being in this teaching is helping me to understand and walk past. And I'm sharing this because I had a week where the control got out of control. The controlling got out of control. And it wasn't very comfortable. I realized how uncomfortable I was being in control. And but then it was like, okay, meditate and get away from it. So it is one of those things that can go back and forth. And I'm going through this book called Conversation, You Can Talk to God. And I read something that really made me feel better about myself. It said that just be where you are and don't worry about what you're not doing. Just focus on where you are, and get out of the shoulds and the woulds, and just stay in it, and know that that's where you're supposed to be. So that's. I felt like that was such a rich statement for me that I said, okay, I have to share it this Sunday, because I think that's that place that all of us are jockeying with, and I feel like it's not just me that's doing this. I don't know, maybe it is just, but being in that harmony and that balance is just a wonderful place to be. And sometimes if I close my mind and eyes and I can get there, I want to stay there, but I have to open my eyes and move around. And that's when the trouble starts. So I'm grateful and thankful to be on this path with you. And thank you for being here.
Good morning, you guys. How's everybody doing? Great. It's my pleasure to be here with Evan and Paolo. Let's give them a round of applause. And a nice congratulations for graduating high school. That is awesome. Pretty surprised. Just kidding. All right. Here we go. That was not a joke. Blue sky smiling at me. It's nothing but blue skies. Do I see bluebirds singing a song? Nothing but bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright. Never saw things go so right. Noticing the days hurrying by. When you're in love, oh my, how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies from now on. Evan, you want it? You're nothing but blue skies. Do I see bird just singing along. Nothing but bluebirds, bluebirds all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright. Never saw the love swinging in my eyes. Take those days hurrying by, but when you're in love, my, how they fly. Blue days, all of them gone. Got nothing but blue skies. Nothing but blue skies. Nothing but blue skies. From now on.
Great work.
Wow. Y'all are just awesome.
Thank you guys. Man, these guys are so great.
Gifted, gifted, gifted all over the place. Whew. Thank you. So I'm supposed to do some announcements. There's a practitioner available for 2-minute tune-up after the service in the treatment room or wherever. You can grab one of the practitioners. And we got a bunch of practitioners here all over the room. So grab one of them and lift your idea and your dream a little higher. There is also, Sangha is still going on. It started June the 21st, but you can still join with Reverend Nicole. And it's on Wednesday from 9:30 to 11:30. Also, the Spiritual Unity Movement Full Moon ceremony is on Thursday at 7 p.m. Their guest this week is Marianne Lewis. She's a singer, musician, and a speaker. Potluck. Next week, we're going to have a potluck. And we're inviting the people online. All of you that are online out there today, you can come and join us because we're all going to have a gathering next Sunday. So if all of y'all out there, come and join all of these here, the room will be full, you know. So let's have one of those glorious days. So join us. If you want to participate in any way, Kathy Theodore, Kathy, raise your hand, is the person that you need to contact to, or you can call Melissa and let her know if you're online. All right, so come and join us next Sunday. On August the 7th, Nicole and Jenny are starting Summer Kids Theater Camp. So you know any kids that are anxious or excited about stepping into some kind of industry, something in the industry. I call it the industry. So they may want to join this camp. So that's August the 7th to the 11th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And that is all the announcements, I think. And thank you. Could you stand and say the Declaration of Principles with me? We believe one universal spirit manifesting through all, natural and incarnate in us. We believe that the universal spirit is personal too and reveals itself through everyone who recognizes its presence. We believe that our faith operates upon the law of mind, which automatically manifests in our experiences. According to that faith, we believe in the unity of all life, in the immortality of the individual soul forever expanded. We believe in eternal goodness, eternal love and kindness, and giving itself life to all.
I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world. I am a light, I am a light, I am a light in this world, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright, and I shine, and I shine, and I shine so bright. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. You are a light, you are a light, you are a light in this world. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. And you shine, and you shine, and you shine so bright. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. We are a light, we are a light, we are a light in this world. And you shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. Let's do it again.
One more time.
And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright. And we shine, and we shine, and we shine so bright.
All right, give yourselves a hand. Nicely done. So it's July. Happy 4th weekend. And you know, this is usually my my big expression of patriotism and the religious science way of living. But since I did that on Memorial Day, we won't do that today. And today, instead, we're going to talk about Monsters, Inc. So we have a new theme for July. That theme is speaking truth to circumstance. And our notes this month have been prepared by my buddy up at CSL Olympia up in Washington State. I did want to kind of set this nice, cool scene in consciousness in case. And so David Robinson's been the minister up there in Olympia for some time now. He's prepped the notes for this month. And in summarizing for this week, he says that this idea of speaking truth to circumstance is a reboot of the phrase, speaking truth to power. That spirit, in truth though, spirit is the only power. And what people really mean when using this phrase is speaking to control or to circumstances. Circumstances are never the truth at the level of spirit. And so we begin by looking them in the face as the monsters that they appear to be. But like the movie of the same name, they are not what they seem. So the movie that he's talking about is Monsters, Inc. And so this, if this is a familiar yet somewhat hazy memory, perhaps it's because this movie's now old, 2001. And besides being a while ago, there was a lot of stuff going on in 2001. You may remember. Thank God we survived Y2K. So there was a stuff going on, but not how, thank God. It wasn't AI yet. We still had 23 years to wait for that. Okay. But getting back, so this fellow here, this is John Sullivan and Mike Wazowski. Was that the name? Wazowski. Yeah, I mangled his name in the beginning. So yeah, the one-eyed guy is Mike, and The furry guy is Sully. And I'm going to go look this up now because in talking about this movie between the services, Jason told me it's the only movie he's seen 5 times, right? And so I sort of remember it, but what I remember it is who had to draw all those hairs in for the fur, right? So this, to me, I was just kind of blown away by the animation, and wow, look how far it's come since, the Flintstones. So, so Monsters, Inc. Not only had some cute characters, it was a very cute story with some deep, even transcendent messaging for not only kids, but for the grown-ups who watch along with them as well. And the voices, so the big fellow was John Goodman and Billy Crystal, and they helped keep the comic vibe going, right? So the basic notion of the story in the beginning is that in the mind of children, behind every closet door, there lies a monster. Now, this wasn't true for myself. I was more afraid of what was under the bed. But I don't know why that is, but it wasn't. But it's an interesting idea that the closet door is a portal to something really scary. And why would monsters want to do this? Well, it turns out that when the level of fear and the screaming of the child, if you can get a kid to really experience fright at the highest levels, then that energy then helps power the town of Monsteropolis. So it turns out a child's fear and terror is what fuels the energy of this community. And which is kind of a weird thing in and of itself. But with kicking off of this, then there are some interesting twists and turns. One of them being that it turns out that the monsters are just as afraid of the children as the children are afraid of the monsters. So this little 2-year-old named Boo follows Sully back to his home world, and all kinds of opportunities for fright and delight ensue. And the end result being that first was Sully and then Mike, the monsters begin challenging old ways of thinking, challenging stereotypes that they had held. They learn to overcome fear and prejudice, reevaluate societal norms with empathy and understanding, breaking down barriers. Now, this is not said in the film. This is a critic's view, of course. I did not see all of that, but like I said, I'm going to watch it now with this shifted consciousness and see. Yeah. So this makes Monsters, Inc., which I really thought, I struggled writing this talk this week. It does make it an interesting vehicle to explore this thing that we call the world of condition, our part in it, and ways to affect change when we are called to do so. For while it is absolutely true, let me give you something a little more interesting to look at maybe. So while it is absolutely true that this manifest life is the life of God, this does not give us license. It does not give us license to ignore the suffering caused by injustice and the hard-heartedness that's behind it. Now, we may have honest differences in the world on how to address the world of condition, but we, as religious scientists and as metaphysicians, we want to avoid playing let's pretend by proclaiming that it's all good because it's all God. Because this is only true within our own life rather than looking at the life of others. Right? When we're proclaiming this for the life of others, really what we're doing is judging, however subtly, and stepping away from what is mine to do in the world. For Holmes himself, developed this wonderful teaching where we understand that it is our thinking that creates our reality, and that we are thinking with and thinking into this field of mind, which is the mind of the Most High, the Spirit as we understand it to be. That's what we're playing with, that this is the first originating cause of all of life that is expressing to the extent that we can connect to it at the deepest levels of thought in ways that are harmonious and produce a world that works for all. So in The Science of Mind, Holmes writes that we do not say everything is all right when it is all wrong. We do not say peace when there is no peace, but rather we try to discover what is wrong and why we do not have peace. We do not say that people are not poor, sick, or unhappy. We ask why these things should be if the original cause of all things, if the Spirit is, by its nature, harmonious, perfect, radiant, happy, and is the wellspring of all abundance and love. Now, this is not to say that we do not hold the high watch for our life and the lives of others. It does not mean that when we look out into the world, we surrender to the seeming tsunami of bad news, but rather it is essential that we remember always that at the level of spirit, there is an expression behind all of it longing to make itself known in harmony and perfection. This is a root principle of what it is that we're playing around with here. Because we are playing around with mind, we also have to understand that our mind is subject to, and even perhaps manipulated by, our own perceptions, even our beliefs. So there was an interesting viewpoint on this when I was watching do you know that show Nova from PBS? So I love this show. It's got a lot of science stuff on it. This one happened to be about the brain. And it spoke to how we experience, and I would even say up until maybe 100 or 50 years ago, the way that we experience life is through our experience and sensations of the sensory world. So we experience the world as light and dark, of hot and cold, of sweet and salty, right? The way that we experience the world. But specifically playing around with this idea of light and dark. But it talks about how the truth is, at a physiological level, our brain is encased in our skull, and our skull has no light. There's no light in there. It's dark as dark can be. And yet we experience light. Right? So we're taking in all of this information. So physiologically, we're taking in all this information, and even, again, physiologically, there are aspects of that filter all of this sensory input down to whatever it is that we are experiencing. And so this is where our perceptions, our beliefs, that fight or flight stuff begins to shape our experience, our perceptions, and that the truth is, whatever it is we think is going on out there is a subjective reality. It is a mental construct, which is a pretty wild idea, particularly when you think that collectively, we two together are sharing a mental construct as well. Now, when you take this from, add to this, not just this physiological aspect, coupled with a psychological aspect, but then we also understand and know that there is some greater thing than we are alone, that we are sensing, And maybe in that sensing, even inviting in a conscious way to reflect, to contemplate, to understand that there are aspects of life that contain truth, beauty, light, love, aspects of our highest self that are universal in nature, that we experience as individuals, and yet collectively we also experience. And that it is possible then to invite this experience, these universal principles, to express themselves not only as our life as individuals, but our life as collective community, right? Now that's over intellectualizing, what spiritual community is, right? But it doesn't change the fact that the driver behind all of it is love itself, right? So in the beginning, we start to suspect that it's not just some kind of Aristotelian, empirical thing. If we can't measure it and quantify it, it doesn't exist, right? But rather it is pointing to deeper underlying truths that when we choose to go there, and there may be some monsters lurking, but when we choose to go there, underneath it all, we find an experience of life that is deeper, more enriching, is more powerful, that has vitality and strength in it, that has a flexibility, a mental flexibility, a physiological flexibility that allows us to move into ways of living life that are a greater expression of life itself that up until then we did not have. And the thing that really drives the whole deal then is belief. What is it that we believe? What is it that we believe? Not in the surface mind stuff, right? So this is beyond opinion, but belief as the truth of our life. Now, how do we know that it's the truth of our life? Because it's demonstrating as our life. It looks like our life because that is our deepest underlying truth. Now, that sucks sometimes, right? But we have to also know when we're looking at life in this way, this isn't for us to judge ourselves and to, whack ourselves with the cosmic 2x4 of how we're not measuring up in the world, but still to understand that, the way this is expressing, but it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to stay this way, that I can choose another way, another expression. Now, Holmes says, why must we believe? Why must we believe? Why must we believe in the higher aspects of expression? Because until we believe that it is, we are actually believing that it is not. Right? So instead of believing in the possibilities of life, we are subtly, well, we don't do this on purpose, but then we're subtly believing in the impossibility of life. So it is all a matter of belief, Holmes says, but belief is scientifically induced into a subjective state through conscious behavior. This is really the point he's wanting to make. Belief is scientifically induced into a subjective state. So when we do spiritual mind treatment, we are taking a new thought, a spiritual prototype of our life, and focusing and knowing this until it becomes, and believing this to be so until it is so fully subjectified, which means it's in this subconscious aspect of thought, both individually and in the universal, that this new thought then becomes the new expression of our life. How do we know that? Because we look into our life and we see it expressing. Now, the interesting thing about this, of course, is that many around us see it expressing before we do, right? So all of a sudden it's like, wow, you seem a little lighter. Your good humor has returned. You're not so crabby anymore, right? Hopefully they won't say that. They might just say, something's different. You seem lighter, right? And the only thing really that has changed is our thinking, right? Our thinking first, and then this outward expression. So I've also been reading this book, The Law of Mind and Action. I don't know who owned this book, but Fenwick signed it. So Fenwick was Ernest Holmes' brother. And this book was copyrighted in 1919, which means it came out before Holmes's textbook. And in it, he writes that metaphysics, which is what we're playing around with here, that metaphysics engages the mind. We must think, and rich and fruitful are the results of logical thinking. By thinking, then, logical thinking, by it we move back along the path of history and science and logical deduction to where? The realm of original causation. Now, what does he mean by that? Original causation? It's just an overly contemplative way of saying the G word, God, right? God as the original causation of all that is. So the science of mind, what this tells me is that the science of mind, at least for me, see if it works for you, the science of mind is not a metaphysical fig leaf for me to hide from the world of condition, but rather a tool in which we can invite the Spirit to make itself known even in this. Right? So it's kind of the metaphysical pony that's in the pile of the manure, right? So we find ourselves, Fenwick says, we find ourselves entering into the field where all is spirit in the beginning of things. We see the spirit or cosmic mind taking the initial step in the creation of the universe. So from this perspective then, I think it's fruitful to ask ourselves, what is it we are being called to do? What is that nagging itch within that is longing to be set free? And I would say that we all have one. And we all find ways to say, not now. Someday, I'm too old, I'm not fit enough, I'm not whatever enough. That's good. If you have something like that, that's a good thing. That's the monster that we want to look at, right? That's the place that we want to look at and say, okay, how can I bring the focus of not only my thought, but how can I create a new thought, a new spiritual prototype for my life that I can release unto this law of mind that is continuously acting upon what it is that I think to help produce the kind of life that I would prefer to live. I like my life the way it is, but I would prefer if I had a little oomph, whatever that cosmic oomph is for you. So when we start contemplating these deeper aspects of being, Fenwick says we are at periods before substance or matter is in existence, so that we know that the all-originating mind could have but one mode of activity, and that of thought. By the process of thought at selected points in space, spirit manifests itself everywhere. Spirit manifests itself as energy, which is the substance of mass and takes form in planetary systems, the earth, all living things. So Fenwick, I find, is interesting, as an interesting fellow, but it's also pretty clear to me, at least from what I've been able to pull out of this book so far, that he was a a mental guy. And I think what Holmes brought to the practice is finding ways to incorporate the heart, to find a way to allow love to express itself. And maybe even the great discovery is to see that it's love itself that is the propelling energetic behind all that we are expressing when we use this law of mind. That he writes, the aim of evolution, I don't even know if I have this on here. Nope, I don't. That's okay. The aim of evolution is to produce a person who at the objective point of our own self-determination may completely manifest the inner life of spirit. That is the point of our evolution, is to awaken to the fact of that spirit is, and it's within me, and that there's some communion going on here. Even this, and that it's not, the spirit is not there to twist our arm into seeing the world from this perspective, because we're always free to choose. So Holmes writes that even the spirit does not seek to control us, Reverend Nancy. It lets us alone to discover ourselves. We did not put this together, by the way. The most precious thing we possess is our individuality. Indeed is the only thing we really have or are. For one instant, to allow any outside influence to enter, control this individuality is a crime against this real self. So let's go within for a moment. Recognizing and knowing that through it all there is a oneness and a unity of all life, that there is a creative expression, that this creative power is the power of the Most High. That Holmes believed that love is the creative power behind all manifestation, behind all demonstration. That love is the energy through which the divine presence expresses itself and brings forth new experiences, new relationships, new possibilities. It is through love that individuals can consciously co-create their reality and align themselves with the creative flow of the universe. So that through it all, there is this divine dance with the beloved as we come to see, to more fully realize that the indwelling spirit is not only alive and well within the heart, but we are living in this overflow of love's expression as we explore what it is to live in this plane of infinite possibilities for good, where we choose the highest expression of not only our own life, but the lives of those around us as well. So let's practice just ways of loving kindness, acceptance, of seeking first to understand rather than to be understood, to find ways to communicate with the ear of the heart rather than the opinions of the mind. Practice doing that today and see what changes. Let's set ourselves free for this Independence Day weekend, that our heart and mind are open to free expressions of life that explode within our own life as radiant colors and energy that express the full potential of our freedom and independence. And then come back next week, we'll check in.
Grand Earth has quaked before, moved by the sound of his voice. Seas that are shaken and stirred be calmed and broken from my regard. And through it all, my eyes are on you. And through it all, it is well. Through it all, my eyes are on you, and it is well with me. Far be it from me to not believe, even when my eyes can't see, that this mountain that's in front of me will be thrown into the midst of the sea. And through it all, my eyes are on you. And through it all, it is well. And through it all, my eyes are on you, and it is well. It is well. So let go of my soul and trust in Him. The waves and wind, they all know His name. So let go of my soul and trust in Him. The waves and wind, they all know His name. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul. And through it all, my eyes are on you. Through it all, it is well. Through it all, my eyes are on you, and it is well with me. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's give him some more love for that in the chat as well. So nicely done. Thank you very much for your gift of music today. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right, so let's have Chloe bring up our offering basket. For those of you who are prepared to make an offering here today, just make your way. For those of you joining online, if you can just take a moment to continue to support our effort here at the center with your generous donation. As we go into a couple of verses, our offering song.
Spirit gives through me, Spirit receives through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit lives and breathes through me, Spirit gives through us, Spirit receives through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us, Spirit lives and breathes through us.
So going within for just a moment longer as we recognize that this basket represents both the heart of the individual, the generous heart of the individual, and the heart of this spiritual community. The generous heart of the individual that knows and knows that it knows that God is our source, our substance, our supply. And so we, as spiritual community now, we accept these gifts with deep love and respect as we know together they go forth to heal, to prosper, and to bless not only this spiritual community, but anyone connected to it in any way. So from this place of gratitude, then, we extend a blessing upon our community of Granada Hills, our city of Los Angeles, our state of California, our United States of America, all of its churches, temples, mosques, schools, universities, the people who attend them, the people who support them, that we know for our planet as well, that all of it is an expression right from the heart mind of the Most High. And to the extent that we know this to be so, we are able to pierce the veil of the world of condition and see the greater underlying truths of love, of perfection, of peace, abundance, and harmony. This lifts our heart. We feel a sense of spiritual living that raises not only our own experience, but the experience of those around us as well. And that's a good thing. And let's acknowledge this by saying, and so it is, amen. So one more gift of love for the crew.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
I predict that you guys are going to have so much fun in college. All right. And so we have the wee ones with us today.
Okay, so tell them what that is. Who is this for?
My dad.
Okay, take it out. And we can turn off the... And we always know that we have light inside of us.
Very nice.
You want to put it back? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Her daddy comes home today and she's very excited.
All right. That's very cute. Nice little project there, Miss Ginny. All right, so let's give a little more love here for Jason and the lads. Nicely done.
Thank you.
And so don't miss the opportunity next week. If you've had a friend who you think would like what we're doing here, invite them to breakfast on Sunday. Just don't tell them it's here. All right, Rev. Come on. Or maybe do. Praise out, Rev. Yeah, let's go to church. No, let's go to breakfast. Yeah.
No, and it is with a joyful heart. We thank God for this hour and this message and this music and all that has unfolded in this time together, and realize that we are being blessed moment by moment with a greater understanding that we are creating this wondrous experience in life, and we are grateful for its unfoldment in harmony, peace, and love. So we go forth to know this and to understand this in everything we do, express, and say. So together together we acknowledge these truths as we say together. And so it is.
Let's stand and sing the peace song. All right, here we go. This is where we stand up and get in a circle if you're new. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as a power, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me.